We all love to read about the best parts of our zodiac sign, don't we? Whether you're a fiery Aries, a grounded Taurus, or a dreamy Pisces, it feels good to see our strengths reflected back at us in the stars. It's validating. It's fun. But what if I told you that the most profound wisdom, the deepest potential for growth, doesn't lie in your light? What if it's hidden in your shadow? The term, shadow self, was popularized by the brilliant psychologist Carl Jung. He described it as the unknown, dark side of our personality. It's not necessarily evil or bad. It's simply the parts of ourselves that we have repressed or rejected. The traits we're ashamed of, the impulses we deny, the feelings we deem unacceptable. In astrology, every sign has a bright side, full of wonderful qualities. But every light casts a shadow. And that shadow is just the flip side of your greatest strengths. It's where your assertive nature becomes aggressive. Where your careful planning becomes crippling anxiety. Where your easygoing charm becomes a fear of speaking your own truth. Today, we're not just looking at horoscopes. We're taking a journey inward. We're going to turn the lights on in those dusty corners of the psyche for all 12 signs, not to judge, but to understand. Because when you befriend your shadow, you don't become darker. You become whole. Let's begin with the first sign of the zodiac, Aries. Known for their courage, passion, and pioneering spirit, Aries is the spark that starts the fire. They are leaders, warriors, and trailblazers. But the very fire that allows them to lead can also burn. The shadow of Aries is impatience, aggression, and a my way or the highway mentality. When their passionate drive is blocked, it can curdle into anger and frustration. They start projects with incredible enthusiasm but may lack the follow-through, leaving a trail of unfinished business behind them. This shadow is born from a deep-seated fear of being powerless or insignificant. Aries needs to be first, to be in control. When that's threatened, the shadow warrior comes out, ready for a fight, whether it's needed or not. Integrating the Aries shadow means learning that true strength isn't just about starting the battle. It's also about having the wisdom to know which battles are worth fighting and the patience to see them through. It's about turning raw, impulsive force into sustainable, focused passion. Next, we move to the steady and reliable Taurus. Taurus is the anchor of the zodiac. They are patient, practical, and have a deep appreciation for comfort, beauty, and security. They build things that last. But what happens when that desire for stability becomes rigid? The shadow of Taurus is stubbornness, materialism, and a deep resistance to change. They can become so rooted in their comfort zone that they refuse to move, even when the ground beneath them is no longer fertile. This shadow is fueled by a profound fear of instability and loss. Taurus clings to people, possessions, and routines because they represent safety. The thought of losing them is terrifying, which can manifest as possessiveness or an unwillingness to let go of what is no longer serving them. To work with this shadow, Taurus must learn the difference between stability and stagnation. It's about finding security within themselves, not just in the external world. By gently embracing flexibility, they discover that change doesn't always mean loss. Often, it means growth. Now, let's talk to the ever-curious Gemini. Geminis are the social butterflies, the communicators, the thinkers of the zodiac. Their minds are quick, adaptable, and endlessly inquisitive. They connect ideas and people with effortless charm. The shadow side, however, is where this adaptability can look like inconsistency or being two-faced. Their thirst for new information can lead to superficiality, flitting from topic to topic, person to person, without ever going deep. At its worst, this can manifest as gossip or a reputation for being unreliable. This shadow isn't born from malice, but from a deep fear of being bored or trapped. The Gemini mind needs constant stimulation. The thought of being stuck in one place, with one idea, or one perspective is their version of a nightmare. Integrating the Gemini shadow means channeling their incredible mental energy into something with more depth. It's about learning that true connection requires more than just a witty exchange. By committing to understanding things on a deeper level, they can transform their scattered energy into brilliant, multifaceted wisdom. Following Gemini, we enter the watery realm of Cancer. Cancer is the nurturer, the protector, the heart of the zodiac. They are deeply intuitive, sentimental, and fiercely loyal to their loved ones. They create a sense of home and safety wherever they go. The shadow of Cancer emerges when their nurturing nature is driven by insecurity. This is when they can become moody, manipulative, and overly sensitive. Their deep emotional memory, a strength in many ways, can lead them to hold onto grudges for years, replaying past hurts over and over. This shadow is born from a primal fear of abandonment. Cancer's identity is often tied to being needed. When they feel insecure or unappreciated, they might use emotional tactics, like guilt-tripping or passive aggression, to pull people closer, clinging tightly for fear of being left alone. The path to integration for Cancer is to build their own sturdy shell of self-worth. They must learn to nurture themselves as much as they nurture others and to communicate their needs directly, rather than through emotional undercurrents. This allows them to give from a place of fullness, not from a place of fear. Now, let the royal Leo take the stage. Leos are radiant, confident, and generous. Ruled by the sun, they are born to shine and to lead with warmth and charisma. They inspire others and love to be the center of a happy and vibrant world. But the shadow of Leo appears when their need for the spotlight becomes a demand. This is where confidence can tip into arrogance, and generosity becomes a tool for receiving applause. The shadow Leo is dramatic, attention-seeking, and can struggle with a narcissistic streak, unable to see beyond their own reflection. This is all rooted in a profound fear of being ignored or seen as ordinary. The sun must be the center of the solar system, and a Leo without an audience feels like they might just disappear. Their self-worth can become dangerously tied to external validation. To embrace their shadow, Leo must learn to find their light from within. True confidence doesn't need constant applause. By learning to shine their magnificent light on others, celebrating their successes without feeling threatened, they become the truly benevolent and respected leaders they are meant to be. Next, we have the meticulous and service-oriented Virgo. Virgos are the healers, the helpers, and the organizers of the zodiac. They have a brilliant eye for detail and a genuine desire to be useful and improve the world around them. They bring order to chaos. The shadow of Virgo, however, is the dark side of perfection. It's an inner critic that is never satisfied. This can manifest as harsh judgment of themselves and others, crippling anxiety over what might go wrong, and an obsessive need to control every little detail. This shadow is driven by a deep-seated fear of chaos and imperfection. For Virgo, a flaw isn't just a mistake, it's a sign of failure. This pressure to be perfect can be paralyzing, leading to procrastination or a feeling that nothing they do is ever good enough. Integrating the Virgo shadow is a practice in radical self-compassion. It's about embracing the beauty of the imperfect and learning the mantra, good enough. By quieting their inner critic and accepting that flaws are part of being human, they can offer their incredible gifts to the world without the weight of impossible standards. After Virgo, we seek balance with Libra. Libras are the diplomats, the artists, and the peacekeepers. They are masters of harmony, fairness, and creating beautiful, pleasant relationships. They have an innate ability to see both sides of a story. But the shadow of Libra is what happens when the pursuit of peace comes at any cost. This leads to chronic indecisiveness, a tendency to people-please, and a deep avoidance of any and all conflict. Instead of addressing problems directly, the shadow Libra might resort to passive aggression, letting resentment build beneath a smiling surface. This is all fueled by a terrifying fear of conflict and being disliked. For Libra, rocking the boat feels like a personal failure. They crave external harmony so much that they will often sacrifice their own needs, opinions, and even their identity to maintain it. To integrate this shadow, Libra must understand that true harmony isn't the absence of conflict, but the ability to move through it constructively. It requires developing a strong inner compass so their decisions are based on their own values, not just on keeping everyone else happy. They must learn to be their own best advocate. Now we dive deep into the waters of Scorpio. Scorpio is the sign of transformation, intensity, and power. They are incredibly perceptive, passionate, and resilient. They are not afraid of the dark and possess a magnetic depth that draws others in. The shadow of Scorpio is born from this same intensity. It's a world of secrets, suspicion, and control. When a Scorpio feels threatened or betrayed, they can become vengeful, manipulative, and paranoid, wielding their perceptive abilities like a weapon. This shadow is rooted in a profound fear of betrayal and vulnerability. Scorpios protect their soft inner core with a powerful outer shell. To be vulnerable feels like giving someone the power to destroy them, so they would rather control the situation, or sting first before they can be stung. Integrating the Scorpio shadow is a journey of learning to trust. It's about understanding that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a doorway to true intimacy. By learning to forgive, both others and themselves, they can release the poison of resentment and transform their power from a weapon of defense into a tool for profound healing. From the depths, we fly high with Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the adventurer, the philosopher, and the truth seeker of the zodiac. They are optimistic, freedom-loving, and have an unquenchable thirst for knowledge and experience. The shadow of Sagittarius, however, is the unvarnished, unfiltered side of truth. It's bluntness that becomes cruel, honesty without compassion. Their love of freedom can morph into a fear of commitment, making them irresponsible or unreliable. They can also become preachy, so convinced of their own beliefs that they fail to listen to anyone else. This shadow is driven by a core fear of being constrained. Rules, responsibilities, and emotional baggage feel like a cage to the wild Sagittarian spirit. They run from anything that might limit their endless possibilities. The path to integration for Sagittarius is to discover that freedom can also be found within commitment and responsibility. It's about learning the difference between honesty and brutality, tempering their truth with tact and empathy. By grounding their expansive vision in the real world, their wisdom becomes truly profound. Now we climb the mountain with Capricorn. Capricorn is the strategist, the builder, the master of the material world. They are ambitious, disciplined, and incredibly responsible. They have the patience and fortitude to build lasting empires and achieve long-term goals. The shadow of Capricorn is the cost of that climb. It can be a cold, ruthless, and overly pragmatic approach to life. They can become workaholics, sacrificing emotional connection and joy for the sake of success. This can lead to a cynical or pessimistic outlook, where everything is measured in terms of status and achievement. This shadow is fueled by a deep and powerful fear of failure. For Capricorn, their worth is often inextricably linked to their accomplishments. The idea of not measuring up, of losing their status, is their greatest nightmare. This can make them emotionally detached, seeing feelings as a distraction from the goal. To integrate their shadow, Capricorn must learn to value the journey as much as the destination. It's about understanding that true wealth includes emotional richness, rest, and connection. By allowing themselves to feel, to be vulnerable, and to enjoy life's simple pleasures, they build an inner empire that is far more fulfilling than any external one. Let's look to the skies with the visionary Aquarius. Aquarius is the innovator, the humanitarian, and the rebel of the zodiac. They are forward-thinking, intellectually brilliant, and dedicated to the collective good. They march to the beat of their own drum. The shadow of Aquarius is detachment that becomes cold and aloof. Their intellectual nature can make them dismissive of emotions, both their own and others. Their rebellious streak can become contrarianism for its own sake, and their unique perspective can tip into intellectual arrogance, where they feel superior to the unenlightened masses. This is all rooted in a fear of losing their individuality. The Aquarian nightmare is to be just another cog in the machine, to be emotionally messy and irrational like everyone else. They maintain distance to protect their unique point of view. The integration for Aquarius involves building a bridge between their brilliant mind and their human heart. It's about learning that true progress requires emotional intelligence. By connecting their revolutionary ideas to the real, messy, beautiful feelings of humanity, they can change the world not just in theory, but in practice. Finally, we dissolve into the cosmic ocean with Pisces. Pisces is the dreamer, the mystic, and the empath of the zodiac. They are incredibly compassionate, intuitive, and creative. They are connected to a world beyond the material, full of art, spirit, and unconditional love. The shadow of Pisces is where this beautiful sensitivity becomes a lack of boundaries. They can be escapist, preferring to live in a fantasy world rather than deal with harsh reality. This can lead to a victim mentality, where they feel powerless against the currents of life. Their empathy can make them easily deceived or taken advantage of, absorbing the emotions of others until they lose themselves completely. This shadow is born from a deep fear of the harshness and cruelty of the material world. Reality can feel too painful, too sharp for the gentle Pisces soul. So they retreat into daydreams, addictions, or spiritual bypassing to avoid it. To work with their shadow, Pisces must learn to be the anchor in their own ocean. It's about developing strong energetic and emotional boundaries. By grounding their immense compassion with practical action and learning to be the hero of their own story, they can bring the magic of the cosmos down to earth, healing themselves and the world around them. So there we have it. The hidden side of all 12 signs. Remember, this journey into the shadow is not about finding flaws to fix. It's about reclaiming lost parts of yourself. Your shadow is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It holds the key to your greatest strengths, your deepest fears, and your most profound potential for growth. By turning to face it with curiosity and compassion, you don't just understand your zodiac sign better. You understand yourself better. And that is where the real magic has been hiding all along.